Welcome friends to the newest edition of Seahawkers What If, the most unique Seahawks preview show in the multiverse. I am your host, Clinton Bonner, and I am joined by the one, the only, the great Brandon Schultz. And of course, Flock, it could not be. We could not traverse the Seahawks multiverse without the protector of the multiverse, and that is the birthday boy, Mr. Phil Leidick. Boys, we are 1-0. Lots of us are traveling. Well, I kind of live here. We are going to the Patriots game, and we have some momentum and some defense to talk about. Birthday boy first, Mr. Phil. How are you, bud?
I'm great. And I saw Brandon doing the struggle that always happens when you get on this screen is try to figure out which way the fingers are pointing. Because
it goes that way.
Everything reverses. Just do the opposite, Brandon, and you can point to the right dude. But anyway, yes, had a nice birthday, enjoyed a good meal. My wife's full into teaching, so she came home wiped out and was like, I'd like to do something nice, but thankfully we'd already had a meal, so I had a good time. 47, what is it? I think of all the birthdays I ever had, it seems like about the least interesting number. Maybe is there anything cool about 47? I don't know. I'm just glad that I'm alive and healthy at 47 at this point.
It's a prime number, isn't it?
Is it a prime all the way up there?
Yeah.
There we go.
There you go.
Yeah, awesome. And Brandon,
number, so
well, happy birthday to you, Phil. Very happy. You look great for 47. Heck, you look good for 37. Brandon, you're almost that same age. How are you feeling? How are you looking?
Almost that same age in a row. But hey, I'm feeling all right. I'm ready for this weekend. Well, maybe I'm not ready, but I'm ready to go.
Yeah. And for those that don't realize, or we've talked about it on different pods, Adam and Brandon are packing their bags coming from Montana over to Boston. I live in Connecticut. We're going to be driving up to Boston, hanging out Saturday with the Boston Seahawks fans. And then we're taking a bus down to Foxborough with Seahawks fans. We'll be tailgating and having some fun to watch our Seahawks win this game versus the Patriots. And that is what we're about to cover. Before we do get going, though, Brandon, we are storming to 4,500 subscribers on YouTube. How can folks help us out to get there before this game even snaps?
YouTube.com/Seahawkers podcast. Help get us there. 4,500. It's a big milestone for us, and we can't get to 5,000 without getting to 4,500 first.
Well, and 4,700 would be perfect, Brandon, since we all turned 47. Since we all turned
for
47
Phil's
this year.
birthday, let's get to 4,700 by the weekend.
Yes.
Love that. That's a great idea. And by the way, guys, when you talk about which way you got to point, this is why I have my green screen and my thing. So no matter which way I point, I'm pointing at Lockett, I'm pointing at Metcalf, or I could just duck and be like, that's Walker back there. And I hope his oblique is doing okay. I'm sure we'll talk about that today. All right. So let us get in to what if. That means we turn the microphone over to Mr. Phil. That means he's going to take us through last time, this time, and what the future holds for us. Mr. Phil, take it away.
Well, I can't see into Mr. Walker's oblique, but I could see the game on the condensed version, every play of last week. Patriots Bengals, a surprising game, maybe a game a little bit concerning, but with our previous, just a couple highlights. Their defense seemed to have good interior pressure. They collapsed the pocket well on third downs. The coverage seemed really tight. So Burrow didn't have a lot he could do. Some say he had a bad game. Maybe he did, but it was struggles for where he could go. They did force a fumble that prevented a touchdown. The Pats, and they almost did it again. They only surrendered 80 yards, 4 first downs in the entire first half. It was a good-looking defense or a bad-looking Bengals offense. Not totally sure. Offensively, they had very good push in the run game, almost consistently. Ramondre Stevenson looked awesome, number 38. Their backup as well, but Stevenson was a force in all kinds of ways. Brissett, of course, he's Mr. Meh. If there was a quarterback that's meh, it's probably Brissett. He's pretty good at running. He's okay at throwing. He's not awesome at anything, but he's good enough. He seemed to really love the in-breaking routes, the mid throws that all were over the middle. People constantly breaking in, or I don't know if he can see anything else. I'm not really sure, but he's pretty good at those. The O-lineman looked very, very good, whether it was protecting him, giving him a chance to be better than Meh, or allowing Mr. Stevenson to rock. So I was very impressed with their O-line. Special teams looked good. They forced a fumble and punt coverage. Were pretty much just swarming on every kick play, and they made all 3 of their field goals. You guys see anything else in this particular matchup?
I saw a lot of the same things you did, Phil. This is a good look at what we saw from the Patriots. And yeah, there are some things that make me a little nervous, but also some things that I think get me excited.
Clinton, anything?
A little bit of Denver 2.0. Slightly better quarterback who could, even though he's mad, is not a rookie playing his first game ever in Seattle, and I think a better running back with Ramondre. And I've got some things to get into as we discussed that I think will be good points. But really, they're just trying to do the quick short game, get the ball out, and they did it a little bit better maybe than the Broncos did it, and that's about it. That they don't have a very talented wide receiving core. And again, we could talk about that a bit later as well. So what do? They do the in-breaking routes. They do the short stuff. They play to some of Brissett's strengths. I don't think will be exactly challenged, but that offensive line and that push is going to be a big topic, I think, today.
Yeah, they were slightly braver than the Broncos. I'll give them that. Their passing attack was slightly braver than the Broncos. But let's get to our theme. Yes. We are going to Gillette Stadium. You guys might remember when we're younger, before we realized that beards are the way to go, or maybe we couldn't have the beards like we needed to. I still shave a little bit, but boy, that was a scam Gillette had going on for a long time, pushing everybody one blade, then 2 blades, 3 blades, 4 blades, fancy blades. It seemed like you couldn't watch football without Gillette commercials telling you have to have perfect smooth skin. Beards are bad. Buy all our products and then buy more of them and then dispose of them. The price keeps going up. Let's go in there and shave the Pats at Gillette Stadium and get them back for all that money I wasted in my early 20s on this Gillette stuff. Anyways, we have some thoughts on razors. There's Razor's Edge. How about a close shave? They always advertise that. Aftershave, razor burn, more blades. You can't talk Gillette without more blades. And then shaving cream. Week number 2 means Clinton goes first. What's our first category, Clinton?
Guys, I would not be a 12. I would not be a lifelong, and then maybe a clue there, Seahawks fan if I don't jump at the opportunity to go more Brian Blades. Let's go. More Blades.
Brian Blades. I love Brian Blades.
God, me too.
My dad's like,
awesome.
My dad, he's the next Largent. I'm like, Dad, nobody's the next Largent. Oh, yeah. Anyway, here we go.
He got close.
He was darn good. He was really good.
Very good for quite a while. He wasn't as good when Largent retired because then he became number 1. But I liked him. Number 89. This question's not about Brian Blades, but it is a question as we head into week 2, Clinton. Is there an area that you really hope to see more from the Hawks in this game? What if you could see significant improvement in any area? What would you choose, Mr. Clinton?
Okay, great. By the way, great topic. Love it. Love the whole theme already. This is fun. We're up to a great start and a good question. I'm going to go, look, yesterday was Wednesday. We are recording this Thursday morning. We will see what the practice looks like, the DNPs out there. And the biggest one is like, man, would it be a shame if Brandon and Adam are getting on a plane and we do not get to see K9 live? That would bum me out so much. But I think it's probably more likely than not right now, just with the way oblique injuries go, which stinks. So what I want to see more of is I was not into what Charbonnet was offering. I just didn't think he was very effective. The delta between him and K9 is so huge. So what I want to see more of is I think I'm going to just straight out call from some Kenny McIntosh if K9's not in this game, which I don't expect him to be, just my hunch at this point. I'm not down and like negative town on K9. I just think we need that dynamic, can create from little or nothing running back at this point because it's a brand new offense and the offensive line still really trying to figure things out together. So dial up some more Kenny McIntosh. Let's use Charbonnet in those third and 3, 3rd and 2s where he's really, really good. He will get you those 2 or 3 yards most often, as long as there's some semblance of blocking. But that's it, guys. We need to run the ball against this team effectively because that's what they're going to try to do against us. And I want to see, if we don't have K9, I think we have to lean into the next most dynamic running back on the roster, and that's Kenny McIntosh.
Yeah, I understand that. It's kind of reductive, but Charbonnet is a much better pass protector. He saved Geno a couple times in the game. Everything else from what I've seen, McIntosh gets me more excited. Brandon, how about you? Now, is there an area you'd like to see some significant improvement from game one? If you could have anything look better this game, what would you pick?
I think it would be the offense's ability to operate backed up near their end zone, because we can't give up 4 points just from safeties again.
That's
not acceptable.
Great call out. Yeah.
So it kind of encompasses both a couple different things. It encompasses improvement from the O-line, because that could have been better, and then a little bit play calling too. I think that you can try and call some more quick shots from that area. I hope we don't get backed up toward our end zone, but if we do, I want to see an improvement right there.
So, Brandon, what you're saying is the part of the team that's supposed to score for us, you'd rather they don't score for the opponent in the game.
Yeah.
Twice.
And
almost
instead
3
of 5
times.
blades, I want 6 blades.
6 blades. None of these 2-point blades. Those are bad. Those are bad when the offense is doing the 2-point type thing.
And I know we're not in the wish territory yet, but I also just want to say, when we are there, I'd like Lake and Tomlinson to block the guy right in front of him. That would be cool too. So I'm ragging on Charbonnet. Charbonnet's getting tackled 2 yards in the end zone. Not his fault on that one. So Lakin, the dude's right there. He's good. His name's Allen. Block him.
Yeah, he didn't have the best options. We have to give Charbonnet that. I'm not the great Charbonnet love his running style guy, but he didn't have a lot to work with. So we go to Brandon. You have 5 choices here. How can we shave the Pats?
Yeah, you were talking about kind of how you felt burned by some of the worthless Gillette products that came in through your youth. I can't think of a more worthless product than aftershave.
Okay, aftershave it is. Aftershave it is. Let's see where we go with aftershave. How about this? What if after this game we need to cool, because aftershave is to cool your beard after you shave. Cool some frustrations. What are the most likely bummers that you could see happening in this game? Like, we hope these don't, but if you have to look at your dark mirror and to the future, these could happen, Brandon.
Yeah, if there's one thing that I would almost expect coming out of this game, is we are asking ourselves, why isn't DK Metcalf getting more involved in this offense? And part of that is after he had kind of a tough matchup week 1, and it's not getting a whole lot easier with Christian Gonzalez in week 2. He shut down Jamar Chase and the Bengals offense very well in week 1, and a big part of the reason why the Bengals couldn't score a lot of points. Fortunately, our Seahawks have lots of other options at wide receiver, but I could see it being a big bummer for DK Metcalf fans, for DK Metcalf fantasy owners, when they look at the box score and he has another game where it's 3 catches and 40 yards.
Yeah, good call, Brandon. How about you? What might be a bummer you could see taking place in this matchup?
First, great one, Brandon. Love that. And yeah, man, whether it's was it Jonathan Jones on the other side, he's a more veteran. Gonzalez was basically a rookie who was redshirted last year, but you're right. That's going to be interesting to see if DK can get to that 60, 70, 80 yards. We shall see. All right. But mine is going to be, look, Dodson also did not practice yesterday. He's got a knee that popped up, right? So it's like, ooh, that's not great. It's Wednesday. We need you to practice. We'll see what happens tomorrow, of course. But he was so good in that first game. So maybe it's more Tyrese Knight, and then maybe we're pulling up somebody from the practice squad, O'Connell, et cetera. So we got to figure that out. So with the possibility there, and then you add in the fact that I think Ramondre is a better back than Javonte, and Ramondre had a lot of yards after contact. He had like a lot of yards after contact. So I don't expect that we'll have the tackling problems that the Bengals had, but the combination if it's not Dodson, and if we don't see that our tackling was, we had 90-something PFF grades. We were killing it with rallying and tackling and open field tackling. I don't know it could get better tackling wise than we saw week 1. So if it's some regression to the mean and we see a bit of a slip in our tackling, and I think Stevenson is a better back and they might get better push specifically on the right-hand side of that offensive line, that could be like, oh man. And why might it be a bummer? Because that means they probably win time of possession. And the only way the Patriots are winning this game, which is a legitimate way, is if, let's say, it's like 36 minutes to 24 at the end of it, and they just got first downs on the ground because our tackling wasn't as sensational. That's a real possibility, and that would be a huge bummer.
That's a good call out, Clint. A good, almost self-aware as a fan call out, because typically we're always saying, hey, we're not so good here. We just got to get better there and just get better there. And you always forget, if you're doing great at something, you might be pushing the ceiling, and what goes up sometimes has to come down. We don't like to think that way, but let's prepare ourselves a little bit. So that moves on from aftershave, Brandon's favorite Gillette product.
By Menon.
Clinton, we have 4 left: Razor's Edge, Close Shave, Razor Burn, or Shaving Cream.
There's 2 I really want to take. I'm going to take, oh boy, I don't want Brandon to take the other one. All right, I'm going to go to the Razor's Edge with the Razor Ramon, and plus we know that Macdonald wants to be out on that edge. He likes that concept. So let's go. Razor's Edge.
Razor's Edge. What if our Hawks young edge players struggle a little bit against this very good-looking Patso line? Can we still be successful on defense if we're not getting all the pressure like Mafe and even some others were getting some good pressure out on the edge? Mafe was amazing. But if that backs off a little bit because of the improvement on the O-line, can we still be successful, and how, Clinton?
Yeah, so I do want to first caveat that while I think the right side of the Patriots offensive line played well, I do not think the left side of their line played particularly well in pass protection, and they were just getting the ball out so fast. So it doesn't, it's one of those things. Like, we had Brissett was under pressure 48% of his dropbacks.
Yeah,
that's like Daniel Jones, Daniel Jones territory. Go ahead, Phil.
Yeah. No, you're definitely right about that. They seemed to protect him on the right side. That was a great call, and he kept moving there. The pressure was coming other places. That was my mistake on how I kind of asked this question.
That's okay. That's my observation. It's all good, dude. And Mafe will tend to end up against their dudes on the left-hand side. So I expect Mafe to go get his, but they're still going to throw the ball in under 2 seconds a lot, or at 2 seconds, which just makes it tough to get home. It just is what it is. With that, to answer the question, I think it was Tariq. I'm pretty sure it might have been Spoon. When they talked about it in the press game conference or the next day, they were like, "Look, we didn't open the bag of goodies yet. We kept it pretty vanilla." So what didn't they do? They didn't do a lot of stunts, because stunts could open up the very, very middle with a guy like Bo Nix who could take advantage of that. They didn't stunt too much. They didn't do. We rarely blitz, right? We're not going to send a 5th or a 6th, but they didn't do too much where Spoon or others were actually in and then dropping others back. So let's just see Macdonald dial this up. Doesn't have to go crazy. Doesn't have to be the game plan versus the Dolphins or what will be for the Lions. Dial it up a degree or 2 more complexity wise. Speed up that clock of Brissett, and they're gonna go short. That's all they're gonna do. Look, guys. Tyquan Thornton, KJ Osborne, Pop Douglas, Demario Douglas, Jalen Polk, who's, everybody knows him from UW, not Javon Baker, not exactly Murderer's Row out on the edge here. So that's it. Just dial up the complexity a little bit, speed up Brissett, and then let Mafe go do his thing on the right edge, because he's going to get home a few times, I think.
Okay, Brandon, how can you take my poorly designed question and be like Clinton and give us a great answer? Because yes, in reality, it was the right side where Brissett kept moving to. But if we don't get the same pressure, what are some ways we can still be successful on defense?
Yeah, well, it's interesting because that is the direction he ended up moving to most, but it was Layden Robinson for the Patriots who ended up giving up the most pressures on the day. And so, we didn't see a lot out of young Byron Murphy, but in this game, maybe going up against Layden Robinson. Also, if you're looking at the guards, you're saying, what if we struggle against the edge? And what I'm looking at is the guards like Layden Robinson, Michael Jordan, who is
Backup, right?
a backup guard, but he was a starter for them with their starter out due to injury. So if he's back in the game, he gave up a couple pressures. He actually played pretty well for a backup. But if you put him up against Leo, I think we have some stronger interior defenders than the Bengals have, and that's what gives me a little bit of optimism right here against these Patriots.
Alexa, turn off. Sorry, something just started playing.
I heard that. I was wondering what the heck was going on.
What is playing? I'm so confused. It was like it's a website. I'm not sure. The R lads I have up just started playing a commercial.
Oh,
okay. Sorry if my bad, guys.
At least it's a recording.
Try to. Yeah, it would be funny if it was live. Try to finish it, Brandon, so I can cut it up later. My bad.
Oh,
if you did finish it, then great. Okay.
Yeah, you finish it.
You just see me going like this, like what the hell's going on?
I can jump in whenever.
Okay.
2, 1. And Brandon, thank you for answering the question like I hope to prompt you in instead of, as Clinton did, prove how terrible my question was. But I was hoping to get to Byron Murphy, Leo, and our interior pressures. And so thank you for doing that. Even though
I got there.
Yes,
you got there, and you saved the day on picking up what I was kind of laying down. I want to see some awesome pressure from our interior guys. Maybe I'm just wishing that into existence right here. Let's
more stunts.
So
more
Brandon
stunts.
gets to more stunts.
All right.
Brandon
well, we
gets
will
to
see if I can pick the one that Clinton didn't want me to pick. He mentioned Razor Ramon. Do we go with Razor Burn?
I guess is that
Razor
where we're
Burn.
going, Brandon?
That's where we're going.
Okay. Did he select the one Clinton didn't want him to show? Okay.
Okay.
He's safe. Brandon, what if our smoking hot defensive backs can cut into Brissett's options? Is there an area you're concerned about from this Pats passing game? I mean, maybe the simple answer is no, but maybe there is something you're a little concerned about, Brandon.
Yeah, when I look at this passing attack for the Patriots, this is like the biggest gap in terms of talent. Like we have this really nice defensive back group, and you look at this wide receiving core of the Patriots, and you're like, who am I supposed to be scared of? Jalen Polk, I guess, but he's a first-year guy. I guess the thing that worries me a little bit, just because I don't know how the team is going to adjust from game to game. If they're doing those quick in-breaking routes, Jacoby Brissett is good when he can throw directly in front of him down the field. He's a little bit like Brock Purdy in that way. And so when you set up those in-breaking routes, it's easy in terms of vision. It's quick, and so you don't have to worry about the pass rush as much. But I feel like Coach Mike Macdonald should be able to have a plan for those types of plays and find a way to disrupt that with this talented defensive back group. So if there's anything that I guess I am a little bit concerned about, it is if we don't have Dotson and they are attacking that short intermediate part of the field, because I don't know if we're seeing Tyrese Knight out there, if Jerome Baker, because we haven't seen a lot of him, if those guys are being attacked by those wide receivers. I could see that being where they would attack and maybe us having the least amount of options.
All right, Clinton. So you don't have to be horribly concerned, but is there an area you're saying this would be I'm most concerned about where we have a big strength against their weakness?
It is. It's a bit of a stretch to get there. And it's for me, I know this is a bit of a non-answer. This would be a huge concern or a very markedly larger concern if this was 2023. Just the play style and the slowness of the linebacking crew and really the safeties last year. So it's different. So I'm not trying to give a non-answer, but I'm trying to explain why I don't really have that concern, because they have a lot of smaller wide receivers for the most part, the quick, shifty type, which is cool. Maybe they'll get some stuff, but you're okay giving those up. And if we tackle the way we were we had last game and we're rallying to the ball, there shouldn't be things that they shouldn't get explosives out of those short dump offs. So I guess if there's one thing, their tight end room is interesting. You know, the Hunter Henry and Austin Hooper.
Yeah.
Hooper. It's good. It's two good tight ends, and they've had different success in different, whether it's for the Chargers, whether it's for the Browns. So they have two successful tight ends. Are they going to do some 12 personnel and do some things that create maybe some slight mismatches with those two tight ends? We'll see, but at the very least, I can point to that area and be like, all right, you have two successful NFL veteran tight ends. And if you're going to do the short game, you're probably going to try to find a way to exploit that or use that to do some exploitation. How it manifests, I don't really have a better answer than that right now, Phil.
Any concern of over allocation to try to shut down Stevenson to where that opens some things up in the passing game? Or do you think even one-on-one, we're not going to get schooled?
Well, so I think I'm not sure it'll be an overcompensation. I think we have to do the appropriate compensation. And if we're into, like a 4-2-5, if I got the math right? 4-2-5. Yeah. Like in a 4-2-5 and a very light box. Well, the Patriots might be able to pound that. Now, I have a lot of faith in our front four at this point, a lot of faith. Let's see what a key matchup, maybe a really good one to just, end this section on, is Draymond Jones had kind of a under the radar, but a fairly okay game. Can he hang on that left?
Who's that?
Draymond Jones.
Draymond. I've heard of him, Clinton. I've heard people talk about him.
You go to me there. Gotcha. He had an okay game, I think. He got enough pressures, but can he stand up against what is that right side of their line when Stevenson's coming downhill at him? Or are we gonna have to see a lot of Hall there? So that's kind of an area that'll be at least very interesting to focus on. But it's still less about Brissett's game and more about do they overload on that side with tight ends, and do we have some mismatch where Jones is not able to really keep the lane integrity and keep the linebackers clean? But less about Brissett and more about the Pats' ability to run the ball.
Very good. All right. So we brought up Draymond Jones, somebody I've heard of. I wonder if he makes a lot of money. I don't know. I'm curious if he makes some cash. I haven't heard a lot about him, so I'd expect he doesn't get paid a lot. I don't know. But we're going to go to our next category. And next category, Razor Burn is gone. We have two to choose from. You get to pick the one you wanted, Clinton. Which one is it?
Yes. All right. I am a nostalgia freak. It hits me. So when I see one of these on there and I think of the yesteryear of Halloween, which, we're in mid-September now, basically. So Halloween, the stores are all decorated for it and the good candies already. It's time to whip out the shaving cream. As a youth, I was out there with the shaving cream with big shaving cream fights. And it brings back good memories of growing up on Long Island.
Awesome. All right, Clinton, what if there's something our coaches can do to smooth out this game? Shaving cream helps you have a smooth devastation of your beard. What if there's something they can do to smooth this out? Where do you hope to see them apply the cream a little bit, Clinton?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a few that are rattling around here. Okay. So I'll try for this one. Let's see how this goes. There's a couple out there, and certainly leaving a good one on the board for Brandon. In general, I thought Grubb's passing offense kind of reminded me of what I saw from Schottenheimer, a little bit of the shoddy type stuff. And look, a lot of the stuff was like outside back shoulder passes, and they were, the probability kind of wanes with depending on who you're throwing the ball to there.
Tyler's amazing at those.
Yeah, exactly. And DK, not so much, right? It's more high variance for him. But the placement was there. But they are just lower probability because it takes, two to tango there. And then the middle of the field was really just the mesh concepts, like the last play of the game. And folks are like, what's a mesh concept? That last play of the game where Tyler gets the one-handed snag is a mesh concept. Cool. I need to see a little bit more, a little more creativity over the middle of the field. So we're just not reliant on, it's 2nd and 8, and we have to hit a back shoulder to move the chains or make it like 3rd and short. those are not the highest probability. You got to throw the ball farther, and they have pretty good cornerbacks. So can we get, and when Fant caught his balls, they were kind of little checkdowns, and he didn't have momentum. He's kind of turning back to the line of scrimmage to then start up, which he doesn't start up very fast. His like 0 to go is not great, to be honest. So can we see Brady Russell? Can we, I don't know if Farrell Brown's going to play. Can we get tight ends down the seam? Can we get more players down the seam, not just dragging across horizontally, but getting upfield vertically over the middle? Didn't see a lot of that really at all. To me, it would help to smooth this out a bit if we could get some success there.
All right, Brent. You used to shave, you get all those bumps because you didn't get the cream applied well. And
Right.
It was kind of bumpy. And I think most of the bumpiness was on offense. But Brent, is there something you hope the coaches do to smooth things out this game?
Well, first of all, I'll say that if aftershave isn't a scam, shaving cream might be the next biggest scam because as someone who shaves in the shower, you can use shampoo and it probably works better than actual shaving cream. So
big tip on our show. Thank you, Brandon.
Yeah, it's just, and you don't have to have the can that gets rusty and by leaving it in the shower, it's nonsense. Just younger kids, if you haven't figured that out yet, and maybe older folks too.
Gillette, like the Patriots, just one big scam organization. For sure.
Exactly. I would definitely lean toward the offensive line just because if there's something that's going to get smoothed out, it would be that. I felt like it was very bumpy early on, and whether it's Connor Williams giving up a pressure that leads to a sack, that leads to an interception, or not a sack, but a near sack. I think that this offensive line, I knew it was going to be a little bit bumpy to start, and it might still be a little bit bumpy because it's just game number 2 of these guys all playing together, but smoothing that out and playing together in a more cohesive way to start the game, it's not going to put them in a deficit early like it did against the Broncos.
Love both answers, and let's smooth those out. We only have one choice left. I guess I should go ahead and cross one out anyway because Brandon just wants to cross shaving cream out of our life.
I can get a close shave just fine with shampoo. It's just fine.
Says the 3 bearded guys, right? So
yes.
Love it.
And the neck is still the challenge.
Yeah,
I don't like the. I don't go Andrew Luck mode. I'm just not down with that. So I do have to shave here, but.
Sure.
I guess I'll try shampoo, Brandon. Thanks for the tip.
Yeah, you bet.
Speaking of a close shave with our shampoo, Brandon, what if the Pats pressure package keeps getting close to Geno? We haven't talked about Geno much. How do you hope Grubb mitigates a collapsing pocket? Let's say your smooth idea didn't quite work. We are having some trouble there with Geno getting pressured. What could be a mitigation?
One thing that we didn't see a whole lot of against the Broncos are some of those quick little outlet dump off receivers. And I felt like going into the season, we heard Grubb talking about getting Kenneth Walker more involved in the passing game. If he ends up being limited in this game, I think, well, McIntosh, a very good receiver out of the backfield. He did it a lot at Georgia. He was really, really good at it. And then Charbonnet also good at it. So I could see us having that option of leaking out the running back, and that way if they are pressuring Geno, I know we didn't do a whole lot of the screen passes. I want to get rid of the bubbles. I want to get rid of the screens. I just want there to be a running back out there in the flat so that if he's getting pressured, he can dump it off, and the running backs can make a couple guys miss.
That sounds nice. I kind of like that. How about you, Clinton? What's some ideas for Mr. Grubb if we're having lots of pressure on Geno?
Yeah, so let's first identify where that might come from and who it might come from. So if there are the Pats fans that are listening, be like, like if these guys are not even talking about our dudes. Look, they got Uche and
we talked about them a lot.
A little bit, but let's give some respect for the 2 dudes up front that can cause the havoc, and that's Keion White, the second-year monster out of Georgia Tech, and Uche. And together, Bobby Uche. Oh yeah. Well, did he get dinged? I
think he missed practice yesterday.
Okay. Well, that would be a big miss for them if he's not in there, because the 2 to tango idea, they partner up really, really well. They do. They run stunts together. They free each other up. Keion White's a bit of a monster out there. And on the rewatch, he was often going against the right tackle. They move him too. They'll put him inside. He's quite versatile, right? So Jerome Mayo will be like, okay, go over the nose. I mean, go over center, go over guard, get outside. So what do you call it? 1 tech, 2 tech, 3 tech, 5 tech, etc. The whole thing. With that, if Keion White is lined up against Stone Forsythe or maybe Mike Jarrell if he's coming up, or I don't know who's playing right tackle. It might be Fant, but I don't think it's going to be Fant. I don't think he'll be healthy and ready for this game. So we'll see. But that's the big spot, guys. Like, we don't have a NFL caliber, starter at right tackle. I think Forsythe comes in and does an okay job as a backup.
Yeah.
But he's not starter quality right tackle. They have a monster they could put on Forsythe from Jump Street. That's a problem. So how do we mitigate that? Look, Grubb talked about this. He did it at Washington. Okay, we got to motion in tight ends, make them basically a halfback, keep them in line. So what do we expect? Barner was out there a lot blocking, and he might be. Fant to me is not a good inline blocker. So less Fant, more Barner, some motions. We had a lot of motion, like 70% motion this game. Bring Barner across with momentum, freaking double team and try and kick out Keion White and team. You have to support Forsythe. Have to. It means Cross might be on an island. And look, if you have to roll the dice that way, so be it. Overload the right-hand side. That's what we have to do, man.
Probably a necessity. It'd almost be a criminal act of violence if Grubb doesn't help Forsythe out.
Certainly,
Geno. I mean, that'd be crime against Geno.
I mean, it's certainly neglect, right? I don't know if it goes all the way there, but it's neglect, right?
There's no doubt. That's not kind to Geno if we don't get a little bit of help there. And Grubb's famous for it, so I think you're right about that. Well, we will move on to our wish at this point, and I didn't get the wishes onto the screen from our Discord, but we are very thankful for our awesome Discord followers and fans. They put in some wishes into our wishing well, and so we got to read these here so you can hear them, and let's see if they come true. Car has a wish. The O-line finds some rhythm. How about that, guys? Looks less noticeably bad as a whole. I think we touched on those, Car. We are wishing with you. Josh Tehuman, DK has a make it up week and goes for 60 plus yards and a touchdown. And bonus wish, Byron Murphy gets a sack. I'll take both of those.
Nice.
Design Pete's Beach House. Spoon gets an INT. Love it. That's probably a likely wish, I think. I think that could be a real good shot. Frost wishes Leonard Williams 1.5 sacks, 5 pressures as the defense continues to improve. JS in Jiggy Whittet wish the defense shuts down the running attack and forces Jacoby to throw. Now, I like that. I think if we do that, we're going to be looking really good. A lot of wishes come true if Jiggy Whittet gets it. Flocktimus Prime, a right tackle mysteriously disappears, and the Hawks have to pull at Clinton 24 out of the stands to suit up. Oh, wait, no, that's not a wish. It's a nightmare. Thank you very much. Clinton is hoping that doesn't happen here in our Discord. So thank you for the wonderful wishes we received there in the Discord, except for Flocktimus's. That was a nightmare. What if Superhawk? Clinton has to go first. Who's your what if Superhawk for this matchup in Boston in front of your own bearded faces in the face of Gillette?
That's it. Love it. I mentioned his name quite a bit. He got one last week by chasing a guy out of bounds. Thank you, Nix, for just not throwing it away. We appreciate you. And he had 9 pressures last week. I think that Mafe will continue to do what Mafe does. And so as I always do, I can't just go with the simple Superhawk. So I'm going to tease it up a little bit and say Mafe, 1.5 sacks. And that is going to land me a delicious wish for this week. 1.5 plus for Mafe.
Yeah. So Brandon always likes to add things, and he saved himself last week by not. Clinton just likes to make it big, like life game moment for his wish. Brandon, what's your wish for this week?
Well, it's because it's a Superhawk, and so you're predicting a super performance. And I felt like I still, with the not really a whole lot of expectations around Dotson last week, I felt like, predicting a high tackling performance was it reached that level.
Yeah.
And so I kind of am, I'm very tempted. And a big part of it is because of Josh DeHuman's wish in the Discord. I'm tempted to go with one for DK because I mentioned it earlier that I thought this had the probability of him getting shut down the way that Jamar Chase got shut down a little bit. But I also like DK, to come out and have a little something to prove.
Yes.
And so I'm going with Josh DeHuman's 60+ yards and a touchdown for DK Metcalf, even though he's facing up against their top corner.
Yeah, let's tell DK all week, hey, they shut down Chase. They're going to shut you down too.
Yeah.
They're going to shut you down. Let's tell him. DK, 60 yards and a touchdown. I have it in there. We talked about this because of the What If Superhawk. They both predicted a Seahawks win. Clinton was almost dead on the score, but we didn't get to the scoring tiebreaker because Brandon got his wish. He wished that Mr. Dodson would get 8+ tackles, and he got at least 10 from what I saw. Clinton wanted Julian Love not to get 1 interception, which he did. He wanted 2, which that's very, very, very rare to do. So it didn't happen. Great choices by you guys. Nailed the overall. Your picks were fantastic. You even both picked 26 Seahawk points. So pretty tough to beat that performance last week. Let's see what you can do, starting with Clinton.
Yeah, I'm a little bummed that I did it to myself, boys. What can I say, right? So, but Julian, nice job there. Here it is for me. This fluctuates a lot, in my opinion, if K9 plays the score, how many points we put up. As much as it pains me to say, I can't see the dude playing with an oblique injury week 2 when they have Miami and Detroit coming up right after this. I just don't see it. I see them being careful and putting him on ice for a week. Stinks, hate it, but I understand it. And I think it's what's going to happen. If that's the case, I don't think we score more than 20. And I think we win the game 20-16. And it's, I'm not saying a nail biter, but one of those games where it's closer than we want. But that's it, man. 20-16. We win by 4. By the way, Vegas has us as a 3.5-point favorite. They tend to be fairly accurate.
I mean, it's not a terrible Pats team. People came into this season acting like it was going to be. When you have a good O-line and a good defense, you can't be terrible. I just don't see how you can be terrible with a good O-line and a good defense. Brandon, what's your score pick?
Yeah, good O-line, good defense, a coach that they seem to be playing well for. It could be a close-ish game. I am going to go Seahawks 22, Patriots 19.
22-19. You guys will have a fun one to watch. I think it's going to be some good football. Something crazy could happen to make the big difference. The Broncos, the terrible things all happened to us, and we still won. They're not a very good team. The Patriots, if we have a couple terrible things like Brandon's hoping don't happen, like have our offense score for them, that's not going to be good. That's not going to be a good thing for us. We have to clean that stuff up. Anything we missed, you were dying to talk about for this matchup, and we didn't get to? I know we're about out of time. Clinton?
Not on the matchup. I definitely want to remind folks, though, we are storming at the 4,500, which means we get to 4,700 to celebrate Mr. Phil's birthday. So please, youtube.com/Seahawkers podcast. Make sure you're subscribing, hit the likes, drop the comments, share it with 1212s. And then, Brandon, we are going to Yard House Fenway Saturday night in Boston for a Seahawkers Boston or Seahawks fan Boston meetup. And then we're taking the charter bus down. So if anybody's listening and you want to connect with us, how can folks reach out to you to say, hey, where are you going to be? How could they meet up, etc.?
Yeah, you can just hit us up on social media at SeahawkersPod, out on Twitter. If you also want to help support the show, getintheflock.com. That helps get you into our Discord group. And we'll be posting information too up there at the website, getintheflock.com.
Super, super fun. So with nothing else to add, gentlemen, what if we say go Hawks?
Go Hawks.
Go Hawks.
Hawks.
And happy birthday, Mr. Phil.
Thank you.